Hey, Timmy Foxx, how you doing?
What's up?
Not bad. Have you seen Echo?
No, I think.
Hey guys,
she's
what's
here.
going on?
Hey. Alright.
Well,
Alright,
what is that?
yeah.
That's my new fancy grenade.
I
Yeah,
know we said
we-
no guns,
no guns.
but
It's not a gun. It's a
also,
grenade. It's
that's
like the
worse.
opposite of a gun.
It's going to blow up the whole store and all the comics
You
inside.
can't read comics if they're all blown to pieces.
That's true. It's true.
They're flammable.
You put the grenade away.
Sorry guys.
But
Sorry.
okay. We'll get her house broken eventually.
Yes. Well, today we're actually going to do a more professional
We're gonna put that in air quotes, very big air quotes.
show.
Alright. So let's get it started, I guess. So this is Comic Station issue number 43 for October 23rd, 2013.
What do you got going on?
So this week we're actually going to start with Velvet number 1 from Image Comics. This one, beautiful cover first off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Second of all, it really opens up and immediately reminds me of a James Bond style, James Bond-esque espionage.
A lot of action.
Even the art style takes me of it, and it opens up with a obvious secret agent, and he gets taken out, and along the way he is explaining that one night when he went out to drinking with a lot of his other secret agent buddies, and they're all talking, and of course the stories get a little bit more rambunctious and a little bit more morbid and everything, and eventually they all realize that each and every one of them have a secret thing with the secretary, and they all thought each one was the only one. So you have the top tier secret agents, all of them secret spies, and all of them being played by the secretary. That takes some doing.
It certainly does. It takes serious commitment.
Yes.
In only the way a woman can.
Absolutely. So, of course, that gripped me right off the bat because I like a strong female character. There's not really any action. It's a lot of espionage. It's a lot of talking about how spies work, and so it does drag a little bit as far as action-wise. But I never really lost interest while I was reading that, which is a good sign. And by the end of it, of course, there is a great espionage twist ending full of fall guys and setups.
Love it.
And she gets to kick some major butt. So
Works for me.
I liked it.
Definitely sounds like something I'd be into. My review for this week is from Image Comics coming out, Pretty Deadly. There's been a little bit of buzz about this one going around. I did very much enjoy this. As a person who has been deprived of comic books until I was about 18 years old, I found that this read very much like a novel. So when you first open it up, it was very, like, there's a lot going on. It's not looking the same way, like, a regular comic book would look when you open it up.
The art style was at points very dense.
Yeah, definitely a little chaotic on the pages, but the story, the narration was very good. I felt it read a little bit like a Neil Gaiman book in the way that there was a lot of mystery. There's these characters that are introduced right off the bat. There's a girl, Sissy, and she has a vulture cape and two different color eyes. So right off there, David Bowie reference, a cape.
There you go.
I'm signed on. But all in all, I was very intrigued by this, and I did want to know. It really left you wanting to know what happened next. So it made me want to buy, not just this issue, but the next issue as well. If you can wade your way through some of that chaotic art and do a little bit more reading.
That's good. I have a DC Universe versus Master of the Universe. It's the second issue, so if you didn't pick up the first issue, I'm pushing it this week. I really like Master of the Universe, so the collide for me is especially good. In this, we have Skeletor, of course, trying to take over
as he does,
but on Earth, and he manages somehow to gain mind control over the Justice League, and of course Batman somehow,
except for Batman,
because he's the goddamn Batman.
And Teela and He-Man and who else was it? Evelyn was trying to help Batman stop Skeletor. So we have an epic fight of Superman versus He-Man and Teela versus Wonder Woman, and that's sold on that to me. You would never get the chance to see that.
And it's your favorite characters from two completely different worlds that you'd never think that you would see them together. You finally get the chance to see.
It's a very interesting crossover.
Yeah.
And I know you, personally, you read all the Masters of the Universe and you're going off all the series. But I kind of left off on the cartoon, so that's my introduction to Masters of the Universe. And speaking of childhood cartoons, this is one actually I went back to very recently and watched the whole series again, and I'm a grown man.
Thank God for
It's on Netflix. Yes, thank God for Netflix. This is Samurai Jack #1 from IDW, and I just really love the first page, because the first page...
It looks just like the show.
Absolutely. It's word for word the introduction for Samurai Jack, and that just made me really happy. Right? And then the artwork. It's very evocative of the television show. It has that trippy art style. The humor is in the characters. It's a little hokey, but that's the humor of the television show. And, of course, it's Samurai Jack. So what does he do? He's on a quest to get back to his time.
Of course.
And as with most quests, go here and gather these items. And this item in particular is the thread of time. So he's trying to gather all these threads to weave a rope to get him back to his time. And
sounds like a decent platform for all kinds of chicanery to go on.
Yeah, and right off the bat, it gets him into fights, obviously. He needs to gather them. So what else are they but protected by monsters? And a convenient plot point, they never mention how many threads he needs. So this could be 10 issues or 100. I guess it depends on how many people pick it up. So, and the only downside to this that I really found was because the art style is very trippy, and I love that on the television, every once in a while it doesn't quite translate so well to the comic book. You'll be panel, how did you get to that panel?
Right.
And you read it thinking you missed something, but you didn't. It just kind of jumped. And while that makes sense more on television, it doesn't work out too well in comic book. But other than that small, very infrequent issue, I really found that because I like the television show, I like this comic.
What would you say to people that weren't into Samurai Jack if you just picked it up?
If you weren't into Samurai Jack, I don't like you.
Good point.
But besides that, this is going to be perfect for teens, and it's also going to be perfect for adults that just want random fun, action, and every once in a while, hokey humor.
Sounds like a pretty good read.
Ow, F. You have another comment.
F.
Oh, you're getting
F. Oh, yeah. It's the
there
FF.
You go. I think you did that on purpose.
I might have. So this is FF number 13, lucky number 13. This comic is growing so close to my heart. Definitely falling in love with it. There is all kinds of hilarity going on in this, including opens up where Ant-Man has shrunk everybody down into Pym's underwear.
Ew.
Yeah. Well, that's mostly the sentiment going around there. And then you have She-Hulk tying up a watcher with some 99-cent clothesline. So if that's not enough to get you into this, hopefully my opinions are.
And the resident She-Hulk.
Yes. So of course I have to read it because it is.
If you don't read it, she'll smash you.
Yes, I will smash. But it's great. It's almost kind of like almost in a reality TV show kind of way where you have, which I don't like reality TV, but I think it translated really well, that style, into the comic. You have these weird awkward moments where there's like awkward silence, and they managed to capture that in the comic, which I think is
kind of like that segue right there.
Yeah, it's interesting for them to be able to capture it in the still panels. I thought they did a great job with that. The art style, I absolutely love. Is that kind of retro future look to it. Every time I see it, any panel from it, it pops right out. If I'm doing an image search, I can always tell when one of the images is from this comic because it just really has a bold style to it, and that I appreciate very much.
My second comment was Marvel Now What? They stress
Now
the
what?
now.
Now what?
Very stressed.
I wonder what drew you to this.
It's very, very cute. That's my running theme is I like cute. You like gritty.
Sorry.
I like cute, sorry. So basically the cover, these guys, they are adorable and they are in the comics a little bit, but it does give you a lot of more understanding in a comedic manner of what Marvel now is and how it's different from Marvel then. It's not the same, sorry. So there's a bunch of little short stories in between showing you a bunch of different comedic and different styles of art throughout.
Yeah, I really like that. The art styles in
Definitely
particular,
liked it.
it goes from the past to current, and you can
Mhm.
really see as the art progresses. They go from the really old style of artwork and they slowly move
More
up to the current.
and it's a very good read. It's good to just have for your collection. I'm definitely buying it.
Awesome.
Yep.
Alright. And now we can check in on what Lito has for his review.
Oh, I forgot to say that there's kittens!
In a rare twist, we actually have a number of reviews from Lito that are positive. Actually, from one of my favorite writers, Brian Wood, is The Massive Number 16 from Dark Horse Comics. And this one, a real nitpick that Lito likes to point out is when something is being able to picked up by somebody that hasn't been reading previous issues, and he loved this. Lito found that it was a really excellent jump-in for any new readers, going so far as to say incredibly new reader friendly. That perks my ears up because unfortunately I've been missing out on some of the previous issues, and being one of my favorite writers, I really want to jump in on it. This starts off a new storyline. Whalers,
Okay.
Vikings in a post-apocalyptic world.
Dig it.
That's a lot of mashups.
That is. And apparently he did it right because he meets an old rival, and the story, even though it has a little bit of padding in some of the events, it's really felt because he didn't want to just jump into the conflict. But the conflict between these two characters is really the heart of the issue, and it really does show that Brian Wood can take something as simple as verbal conflict and make it so compelling, and make that the heart of the story. The next one, going on the other way, this is full action. This is Kiss Me Satan number 2. We showed it previous on the number 1 on another comic station, and it's out today. This goes full tilt on the neo grindhouse story that evokes horror exploitation style of the 70s. Now, while this style does kind of teeter along the line of the TNA, it somehow manages to stay on the safe side. Somehow. Barely. I don't know who would be familiar with that. And some of the, of course, the biggest complaint probably was the over the top. At one point, there's a monster truck with skeletons that are, I forget, pirates or ninjas, or both, in a monster truck just chasing werewolves. So
I don't know. See, when all that stuff happens, I don't know. I get a kick out of it, especially when it gets really ridiculous.
So that would be perfect because that's the story basically. It's actually it has a surprisingly strong plot and really good pacing, tons of action, over the top of course, and there's actually some intrigue, a little bit of mystery going on. The tongue-in-cheek grindhouse is done well. Something that might appeal to you.
Yes.
So it's a well-written and enjoyable little romp through the horror action, all coated under a delightful ooze of low-budget video rental action junk and sleazy octane exploitation goodness.
Right up my alley.
I love the words in that. Because Comic Station is always trying to ask for some opinions, trying to ask for new input.
We want your feedback.
Leave comments, let us know. We actually came up with a new little segment that was an idea, and we're going to start it here. And this is Judge a Comic by its cover, where we basically went around on the new releases, saw the comics without reading them, based on the cover, and picked them up that we want to read.
The one I picked up is Catwoman because of the Joker's daughter, not so much because of Catwoman, because I haven't read any of her things before recent. But the Joker's daughter was in the 3D comics, So, with the hero or
Villains month.
takeover for that month, I did pick that up. It was very good.
She also drove us nuts going to every comic store to collect all of the other 3D covers.
I hunted them down. They were
that was the most fun
than they were to read.
There you go.
But I did get The Joker's Daughter as a regular comic, and I did read it, and it was good enough to make me want this one, and I'm definitely gonna read it.
Awesome. And my little pick for judging a comic by its cover is Rat Queens #2. I haven't read #1, but from Image Comics, and what really drew me to this one is, honestly, it's a bunch of women with battle axes and swords, and the battle axe is the size of her head, so of course I'm going to want to read it.
Yes.
It just looks like they're just about to kill everything. So, of course, I want to read it.
Let's dig in. My pick was Wonderland. And the reason why I picked this up, I keep seeing this on the shelf every week that it comes out. I keep looking at it. I keep almost picking it up. The art on the outside kind of draws me in, and certainly for Zenoscope, something may be said about that.
Yes, well, they're known to put eye candy on the front.
False advertising?
Which is confusing because you would think it has a bad story, but I've heard the story is very good.
In some cases, they live up to it. In some cases,
I've never
they don't.
read it. I don't know.
Now, I'm a big, huge Alice in Wonderland fan. Back to, my collection I have stuff in German from, when it first came out. So I'm a big critic of it, so it makes me apprehensive to read something like this where I'm worried they're really going to kind of bastardize the storyline or really mess up the characters in a way I don't like, but I keep seeing it and I keep wanting to pick it up. I don't know.
Knowing Zenoscope, they put eye candy on the cover. It really grabs your attention. Can turn some people off to it, but can get people to read it because there is, and they want to see that. But they find that there's generally a good story inside.
As long as the butt-kicking ratio to scantily clad instead of 50-50, then
you gotta scale out.
Then I'm in.
What do you think about this new little segment where we just judge it by the cover?
Let us know.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Please, we want your feedback. If you have any other suggestions for the show, send them in. Facebook, YouTube comments.
Echo has been doing a fabulous job of just plastering the videos everywhere.
If I haven't spammed you yet, you are on my list.
Absolutely. So, feel free to leave any comments below. Email, message any of us, Twitter, I'm on Twitter at least, and message any of us on Facebook. Let us know. We're always welcome to more ideas, more comments, more feedback. All right. Thank you very much. This has been Comic Station issue number 43 for October 23rd, 2013, and we will see you next week.
Better.